Okay, thank you very much all for coming to. We will then start this 2020 edition for AED Days. As you all know, will be 100% online and due to the unfortunate COVID-19 context. However, we have put a lot of effort in trying to emulate all main activities of a physical event. So please take note that we are going to have, on top of today's conference and the next 2 days workshops, we also have a virtual exhibition. You can have prearranged virtual B2Bs and you can have spontaneous chatting with all the participants. So please take advantage of that to make this event a real success for you. And with no further ado, I will pass along to, we'll start the opening session first with José Neves, the AED's president, which will give some words. José Neves, the floor is yours.
Sua Excelência, Sr. Ministro de Estado da Economia e da Transição Digital, dear guest speakers and moderators, dear AED members, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 7th edition of AED Days. This was not the year that we have planned. Likewise, no one was envisaging this event online. Still, with 650 registrations from 22 countries and delegations from Canada to South Korea, we have the grounds to have an excellent event once again. Thank you for your effort to be here today, and a special thank you for all the speakers which will make the 2020 edition of the AED Days the best ever. The COVID-19 pandemic has touched every corner of the world, and the economic crisis are known by all of us. With the arrival of a second wave, urgent actions are needed to kickstart the economy and create the conditions for a recovery. At the moment that an emergency European recovery instrument, the Next Generation EU, is being established, I see the grounds for a bright future of the aeronautical, space and defense sectors. Indeed, at the end of this event, I do hope that all of you have the same belief. As you imagine, AED had also a very challenging year. Back in March, we had all our ecosystem in danger. Fortunately, all our members had the goal to come together, and since its early days, we had the mojo to work hard and plan ahead. But do not take me wrong. Many companies, namely the ones closer to the civil aviation, had a strong hit, which can take years to recover. The fact is simple to explain. Given that airlines have plenty of spare aircraft for years to come, will we see any real demand for new equipment before 2025? The short answer is that no one really knows. And what is true for airlines is also true for suppliers. A large overcapacity is in place now, which will lead to an industrial restructuring in which weaker companies will exit, while others will survive, benefiting in the long term. A quick launch of the Next Generation EU, together with a coordinated approach to ensure its best usage, is indeed vital. AED consolidated vision is to think on what can be done to mitigate the situation to come out from it even stronger. As a result of many fruitful discussions, we have placed our priorities on our people, on our companies, and on our country. On people, since we are talking about highly skilled jobs, many of them with specific certifications that are the foundations of this industry. I still remember that in just 1 month, we had to change our priorities from hiring to retention employment policies to ensure the maintenance of jobs in the sector. On the company, since we had to consider how could we sustain existing activities, how could we identify financial and economic incentives tailored to this ecosystem, or how could we plan joint cooperative initiatives to promote the development of novel products and competencies. And over the country, there was a national emergency, and from day one, I'm proud to say that we were mobilized to assess on how our ecosystem could support the crisis. Portugal was facing and now to reconvert some activities. Without going into further details, we have achieved it. At the end, and in close coordination with the Portuguese government, ministries, national agencies, and other stakeholders, AED was able to draft its first position paper, presenting a consolidated view of the industry and what measures to take to strengthen the position of this ecosystem. A baseline for our position paper was the agreement for competitiveness signed by AED in the presence of the Minister of Economy, Dr. Siza, today here with us, just 1 year ago, and AED strategic view, which was presented last year by José, our managing director. From this, let me reference 2 elements which, for me today, are core to ensure a bright future of these 3 sectors in Portugal. First, people and competencies, promoting the attraction and retention of talent and specialized training. And second, innovation and value creation. Just 4 years ago, a Portuguese consortium under the Clean Sky Research Program was able to be part of the next generation of flight taxi initiative for Airbus, which promotes sustainability in the aeronautical sector. As referenced this year by Commissioner Maria Gabriel, this is a key challenge for the sector, which falls under the European Green Deal, published by the European Commission last December. This deal aims to transform the European Union into the first climate neutral continent by 2050, and the aviation sector is no exception. For your reference, 10% of the decline in global CO2 emissions attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic was the result of the reduction in air transport operations. Considering that air transport contributes to 2.8% of the global CO2 emissions, this is not a stark illustration of how much the civil and general aviation has suffered in relation to other industries, but as well, its relatively high carbon intensity. I must say this is an historic moment for the commercial aviation sector as a whole, and our cluster intends to play a role in the most important transition this industry has ever seen. Responding to this challenge, which relies on hydrogen as a primary source, AED ambition is to go one step ahead and become a member of the future Clean Sky or Clean Aviation Joint Undertaking. I truly count on a national task force to support us on this endeavor, which can revolutionize the Portuguese industrial and academic ecosystem and pave the way for becoming a reference nation in the aviation sector. Just let me highlight some additional significant moments of the aeronautical sector in Portugal, which also contribute to the growth of this sector in the long term. Facing the challenges raised by urban air mobility in terms of use, acceptability, regulations and technologies, and representing an investment of 10 million euros, the Fly.pt project is the first cluster initiative addressing the development of top-notch autonomous aerial vehicles. Fly.pt will match the challenging concepts of vertical and urban and horizontal mobility in a market estimated to reach $15 billion by 2030. In the same framework, Flexcraft, a 3 million euros investment project involving AED members and Embraer, was concluded, representing an additional step in this endeavor. Complementary, the recent announcement of the AETR 100 aircraft can lead to the creation of 1,200 jobs by 2025. This investment clearly demonstrates that we have already in Portugal the capacity to design, develop, manufacture and assemble aircrafts. Likewise, the national space sector is a true evolving domain. I really need to say it's impressive. And a special word here for PT Space and its new president, Ricardo Gomes. Clearly, the initiative to manufacture and launch Atlantic microsatellite constellation to be developed in the context of the Air Center, an international partnership in which Portugal plays a driving role, is not only crucial for the leverage of national skills and for the manufacturing of complete space-related systems, but as well an excellent example of the dynamism that crosses this sector. The impact is wide, including maritime applications, space situation awareness, surveillance, and tracking, among many other elements that are directly related with the concept of new space. At the cluster level, two major contracts have been established, involving almost 20 million euros investment. Infant, dealing with the development of a microsatellite, and Vieira, targeting the development of a suborbital vehicle launcher platform, in a market size that is expected to reach $5 billion by 2025. Overall, Portugal is today a nation that fosters a strong and innovative space industry, aligned with the European goal of autonomous, reliable, and cost-effective access to space. And I can disclose that relevant news are expected for the next couple of weeks. Looking to the economy of defense, an unprecedented level of initiatives, coupled together with the national and also the European strategy for the sector, did raise the bar. As well, a special word here for IDD and its new president, Mark Capitão Ferreira. Just for your knowledge, from the 46 permanent structured cooperation PESCO project approved, Portugal actively participates in 10, leading 2 projects in areas of strategic relevance for the national defense: the Maritime Unmanned Anti-Submarine System, MUSAS, and the EU Cyber Academy and Innovation Hub. Together with the sustainable execution of the Military Programming Law, or LPM, it clearly demonstrates the commitment of the defense sector to create value, competitiveness, and innovation capacity. From the cluster side, we are ready to get on board this window of opportunity and tackle other challenging European cooperative programs that will not only enhance European technological sovereignty, but also will potentiate the integration of our members on industrial supply chains. As you may remember last year, and the Minister was not attending, as you may remember last year, I have addressed the waves of Nazaré. I would be glad to know how many of you took the challenge. Sincerely, I really believe that more than ever, we do need to dive in the ocean, refresh our mind, and get ready for a decade of innovation where environmental sustainability and digital transformation will be a catalyst of growth. And I'm not talking about an evolution, but rather a revolution. The innovative network of national living labs that we are now starting at AED and the collaboration with regional partners and CTOs for the development of specialized hubs with focus on drones, urban air mobility, and satellite downstream services already targets investment flows for disruptive research and breakthrough innovations. The fact that the National Recovery Plan contemplates our sector as a catalyst for technological added value and wealth creation clearly reinforces the position of this ecosystem as a national priority. Our ambition is to use the National Recovery Plan, coupled with the access to the Next Generation EU, as an unprecedented opportunity to enable Portugal and its industry to leverage Europe's boost on sustainability, resilience, and strategic autonomy, while supporting the green and digital transitions. And I'm very glad to see that. Indeed, as you will notice through this event, AED is already working hard to consolidate its strategy and prepare our economy for the future. Please join us. One final word to our gold sponsors, Airbus, Bell, Coty, and Maxar, and to our partner Voice Recognition, which all had a major contribution to make this event possible. We thank you for your support and the trust that you have placed on the 7th edition of the AED Days. I wish you a very pleasant and fruitful time. Please drop our wave and enjoy the event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, José Neves, for your inspiring words. I will pass on to His Excellency, the Minister of State Economy and Digital Transition, Pedro Siza Vieira. Please go ahead.
Good morning to you all, and welcome to the AED Days 2020. This is a particular event under special circumstances which have been caused by the fact that the pandemic has required from all of us around the world social distancing and profound impacts in the way we conduct our business or go about our ordinary lives. One of the areas where the pandemic and the measures that have been taken to tackle it has been most impacted has been precisely everything that has to do with physical traveling, which is why probably the aircraft industry and the airline industry is one of the most profoundly impacted going forward. Now, this certainly has had an impact also on the plans for all the industry and certainly the cluster AED in Portugal. The evolution that was being expected for the coming years would require certainly significant investment in skills and capabilities to serve the airlines and the aircraft industry. Now, this is not happening as predicted, but these times of disruption are also times of opportunity. Some of the trends that we have been seeing from the past will certainly accelerate. Others, because they have been disrupted by the pandemic, will require significant effort and time to make sure that we can adjust to new times. José Neves has mentioned the opportunity for rethinking the way we propel our aircraft and our travels, calling into the attention the impact that the fact that airplanes around the world are on the ground has had on the global emissions of CO2. Now, this is something that certainly will require some thought. But as I was mentioning, some of the trends will certainly evolve in the future. And one of the areas which I wanted to address to you is the fact that within Europe and certainly within Portugal, governments and companies are working very hard to see how best to invest in the recovery of our economies, whilst at the same time trying to lay the groundwork for future prosperity for our societies. Now, certainly, I want to talk about how in Portugal we are considering taking advantage of the program Next Generation EU to not only accelerate the recovery of the economy, but also to invest in the grounds of our future prosperity. Next Generation EU is a European Union program which will be able to finance investment within reforms which may be able to tackle the challenges that the double transition will put in societies and economies around the world, digital transition and climate change, but also in trying to accommodate further resilience and the ability of our societies to withstand shocks. The best way to do that is certainly to make sure that we invest in industries of the future. Now, within the National Recovery Plan, which Portugal will be required to submit to the European Union, specifying how we plan to invest our share of Next Generation EU, certainly we want to take advantage of the funds made available to support open projects which may be able to develop industries of the future based on innovation and adjusting the skill sets of the workforce of today to the future. Certainly, there is a very strong opportunity for space and defense industries to come up with ideas in consortia that may associate both industry, technological centers, scientific institutions, to come up with projects that will require investment and may be partially supported by these funds. And I challenge all the participants in this conference to make sure that they are able to identify together strong opportunities to develop new products, new processes which can service the needs of the society in the future, within the space, within observation of oceans and land from the space, within the various adjustments which a more mobile, a more climate-friendly society will need to tackle in order to ensure that the prosperity we want to build in the future is also consistent with the protection of our planet. These initiatives will be coupled together with other incentives for innovation and investment. I'm considering the initiatives and the programs within the structured programs for defense cooperation within the European Union, in which Portugal is participating intensively. And I am also thinking about the way a number of civilian activities are developing the industrialization of products which your companies have been developing in more advanced fields. Now, I want to make sure that, and I want to ascertain that within the cooperation that the Portuguese government and the Ministry of Economy has been holding with the cluster of aircraft, defense and space, we will continue to work together to identify opportunities to make sure that the talent that the industry will require will continue to be made available in our country, that the opportunities for investment and innovation are met with an administration which is able to work closely with the industry, and also that we can foster investment and cooperation in an open manner, which is not only accessible to our co-citizens, but also to companies from around the world, in the tradition of the very open economy which Portugal has always established. So I wish you a very good day of work, and I hope that out of your reflections and your discussions comes bright ideas which we can look forward to and support as we have done in the past. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister, for your inspiring words. I'm sure we are all looking forward to the continued growth of these three sectors, both national and internationally, of course. Being an international event, of course, this is also very much focused on the Portuguese context. And thus the next keynote speech, which will be focused exactly on that, will be given by João Taborda from Embraer, and it's titled Geopolitics Impacting the Portuguese Cluster, a Concern or Opportunity. João, I pass the floor to you.